Hello everyone! I can't believe it's been over a year since I have filmed Plan With Me, and I'm so excited to be back today with the Plan With Me. Today we're going to go over a couple of different things. I'm going to talk about some updates in my life and what I'm doing with this new planner / bullet journal. I'm also going to talk about the difference between the two different Denik last year's and this year's, and obviously this year's is going to be the most pertinent, but I'm comparing it to last year's. Going over the pros and cons of those two and why I stand behind this product. And I'm not affiliated with them. It's not a sales thing. They didn't send me their planner. I just genuinely love their planners, and so I'm going to spend a little bit of time today talking about why I love their planners, why they function as a bullet journal and a planner, and how you can kind of convert them to fit your needs. Since I understand not everybody likes to know what's going on in my personal life, if you want to jump and skip ahead to the planning section, you can go ahead and click the little timestamp right here, and that'll take you right to the beginning of the planning section of this video. So obviously a lot's happened in the last year. I feel like a failure, quite honestly. I haven't completed almost any of my goals. I haven't done much as far as my business or Artist Explores the World as it used to be. I have done a lot for my business in other avenues. What you see behind me is actually one of those things that I have gone for this year, and that was having an actual art studio space. And that's kind of where I left off on my personal updates, is back in March when I first was going to give a studio tour, and I never did. Life kind of has been crazy this year. I've had a lot of unexpected changes, and things have gone in a different direction, and that's okay, but it's not exactly what I wanted, and so I'm hoping that 2019 will be a year for me to get back on track with what I originally planned for this channel and what I originally planned for Artist Explores the World. Now I am going to be working in this studio space, so you're going to see a lot of this, and you can actually see my camera rig in the back right there. That is what my camera is set up on, and that's usually the surface that you see me working on when you look at my art videos. So this is kind of a look at my studio space. It is also a physical location that people can come in and purchase jewelry, magnets, ornaments, and original paintings, wood burnings, cards, and prints, and all that kind of thing. Thank you for sticking around. If you are a current subscriber, I appreciate you sticking around for all these life changes and updates. I know I'm going to start posting regularly again in the new year. Starting with this video, this is kind of my go-to planning video where I'm going to sit down and I'm really going to schedule things out for the first 3 months of the new year, and hopefully that will allow me to get back on track if I actually schedule and plan things on a very tight schedule that I can stick to. So let's get into talking about the two different planners. So I stepped away from bullet journaling simply because I did not have enough time. I still am working 5 different jobs, and managing, my time has been very difficult and challenging, and I have not had time to draw things just for me or just to journal. Usually when I'm drawing, it's to make art that I'm selling or to make jewelry that I'm selling, and so I don't specifically have time to make a journal just for myself and just to journal my everyday activities. So I moved to this planner. I found the original Denik Planner, Now or Never, at Staples actually, and I loved it immediately when I picked it up. It was very different than any other planner that I've ever used. The first thing I loved right off the bat was that it has a lot of note area. So you have your week, and then you have an entire page that's blank note page for you to fill in whatever you want. They also had these monthly pages where at the end of the month you had a complete note page and then a starter page to the next month that you could kind of decorate as you wanted, which is really cool. And also in their monthly section, they had a little tiny to-do list that you could list out monthly goals. Now the new planner is different. Oh, and the cons for this is that it was just glued together. So even though it was a thicker, nicer paper, the cover came off within the first 2 months of me owning it. So then I was stuck trying to self-glue it myself and keep it together for the rest of the year. As you can see, it's very well used this year, and you'll see it a little bit close up in when we get working. it's just very well used and it hasn't held up super well. But they are a relatively new company. They do support art. A percentage of the money made from the planners goes to artists and art education. So I did like that, but they are relatively new, so I think they're learning and evolving. And the new planner has the pros is that they fix the binding, so it's a spiral bound instead of the glue bound, which is really nice. Unfortunately, I think that's why they have a much thinner paper than they had previously. I really liked the nice thick paper in the previous year. This year is not as thick, so it will not work for markers or Sharpies or any felt tip pens. You'll be able to see on the reverse side. So those kind of things will not work in this planner, which is kind of unfortunate because I do like using a lot of those things. I like that it's hardcover this year though. A nice thick hardcover. I feel like it will protect the pages a lot more. It's one of those like soft feeling covers. So that does mean that already I've had it a month and a half and it's already gotten some scratches on it, which, you know, I don't really usually care about the outside too much because it is going to get dinged up. It's going to be in my travel bag when I'm going to different countries, but if you like to keep a nice clean planner, it's going to be difficult not to get scratches on this one because it is the softer surface. But the softer surface feels nice and I do like the design. It's a different design. It's got gold on it. There's a few other options too. There's smaller ones. This is the largest size, and I do like the larger size. I like to write a lot, and you'll see why. I do use the entire note page with my bullet journal format. I'll go over a lot of the different changes when we actually get into the plan with me. So let's go ahead and get started with setting up our pages. So the best thing about the Denik Planner is that it has a really nice clean layout that gives you plenty of room to go ahead and plan. So this is just an overview of what the pages look like. And the only real complaints that I had were that there weren't note pages in between the months and that there were no note pages at the back of the book. But I'm going to show you two things that I did to help fix this problem. So this is just to let you know what it looks like if you decide to get one for yourself. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I am going to jump around a little bit, mainly because I filmed this in two parts. I filmed half of this while it was a nighttime, and then the other half the next day in the morning. So this first part, I'm going to work on my weekly layout. So I start off with a tracker. Now you may remember from my other videos that I do like to track a lot of things, but what I narrowed it down to was the most important thing to track was my social media posting and management. And then the other thing I'm going to track is how much money I'm making every single day, because one of my main goals has been to make a certain amount of money a week, and so I track what I make every single day so that I know that I'm on track to meet that weekly goal of how much I want to make. The social media tracker helps me keep track of which Instagram pages I'm posting to, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, my blog, and Pinterest. I also have my weekly goals. And I use this top section to track what I should be working on every single week. It's also where I put rolling goals, so if I have a monthly goal, I will put it in here, and if I don't get it done, then it rolls over into the next week, and theoretically it gets done by the end of the month. And the other thing I track is my media, and you may remember that from my old tracker. I do keep track of everything that I take in, so movies, TV shows, and now podcasts, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and books that I read. Now this is another change from last year's planner. Last year's planner had two different columns, one on the left side, one on the right, and it was divided by little lines. Like what I use square dots, but basically little lines as your bullet points. So now I'm adding in my own little bullet points since they decided to take those out. Now, if you don't want two columns, this might actually be beneficial for you because it gives you a whole line to work with and to organize however you like. I do like to try to meet my goals of doing 2 to 3 out of the 6 things, the 6 daily goals that I have for myself, and which is working on the blog, reading, writing, journaling, exploring, and drawing. A lot of the time I draw every single day. I try to journal every single day. And then everything else is just extra if I can actually get it done. And then this year I'm also trying to have a daily goal. And these could be fun or simple things. It's just something to help me get back on track. I've done this previously about 2 years ago, and just even simple as remember to smile today, or remember to thank one person for something, or something very simple and easy to do. It makes me feel good to be able to check it off my list, and I also try to remind myself to do positive things and not get so self-absorbed in work. Next, I'm going to add just a couple of monthly goals, and I'm adding them to the spots that are filler for last month. So that's December 31st that I'm filling that in. This page, so originally it's a yearly plan ahead, but I don't usually use a yearly plan ahead. And in the old planner, I would use the middle page, the monthly page, to fill in my social media stats. And that's what I just showed you in the old planner. But this new planner doesn't have those pages. So what I've decided to do is instead modify this page to fit my needs. Instead of a yearly planner, I'm going to use it to track my social media stats every single month. Obviously, this is very unique to my business, but I do track how many followers I have on Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube and all the other social medias. Also, they don't have additional note pages at the beginning. Well, actually, so they don't have them at the beginning or the end. Last year, I used the last page to write out my yearly goals. This year, I'm going to have to fit them on the front page, which, you know what, actually isn't such a bad idea, because then I'll see them as soon as I open the front cover. As usual, I have some main yearly goals, and I'm using a Sakura brush pen, and also a simple ballpoint pen, but it's got a very fine tip. And I absolutely love that pen, mainly because it does work for a left-handed person, which most ball pens don't. The brush pens, I've also had to modify the way I use them. It's kind of hard to see with my over-the-top camera view, but typically I will have to actually draw letters backwards with my brush pen because I'm left-handed, and brush pens are meant to be dragged, not like writing straight on top. But if I'm writing left to right, then I can't drag it the way it needs to be dragged. So instead, I will pencil in the word and how I kind of want it to look, and then I'll actually draw it backwards, or write it backwards, I guess. As usual, I'm bringing down my yearly goals. I have the main goals at the top, and then I also break down into personal goals, relationship goals, business goals, travel goals, and art goals. I'm still actually brainstorming, and I will probably add more to this throughout the year. Typically, my goals are ever evolving, and as I cross something off, I try to add more. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I haven't done this well with my goals this year, and so keeping up with it and having it on the front page might actually keep me more accountable this year. We'll see how it goes. I am going to add a quote on the left-hand side. I just, at this point, haven't decided which quote I want to add in, so I'm going to jump to a different portion now. Just a quick note before I do, I did use a green felt tip pen to add a little bit of color into the front page. Green is my favorite color, and I just wanted to add in a little bit of color. I do still occasionally do a month where I pick a color. If you're a fan of my other Plan With Me's, I used to do themed colors every single month. I do still do that sometimes, but not always, just because I don't carry around as many pens as I used to. Now I'm going to fix the problem I mentioned where I don't have enough pages at the back of the planner. So what I decided to do is add in some pages at the very back, because there are things that I track throughout the year and I want them to be at the back of the planner. So I stacked 3 half sheets of computer paper, and then I'm taping them together, and I tape them together stacked so that the middle page doesn't fall out, because if you make them all nice and even on the top, then you're more likely to lose the middle pages because the tape doesn't fully stick down. So now all these 4 pages are all stuck together really nicely, and I'm just going to use regular masking tape to put that in, and you'll see it looks really ugly. So I am going to beautify it a little bit by adding in some black washi tape on top, and then using a white gel pen to write what I need to write. I use these pages to track two things. I track how many original art pieces I created. I don't include my jewelry in this just because that would be outrageous. This past year I created over 200 pieces of jewelry. To track that would just be insane, and I do have an inventory, so if I really want to look back at what I did, I can go through the inventory and see what was created in the past year. But I do track the original paintings, wood burnings, and bigger pieces that I sell and create in each year. I also track how many videos I make. Like I said, this year has been the worst year for videos for this channel in particular, but I also created a lot of videos for other companies, for other people, and for Exeter TV. So I track all of these in the same place, and I write down what the video, like who the video is for, and then what the video was, and this allows me to see how much I accomplished in the year. Last year I finished over 150 videos. This year I think I'm just under 100. I might have even hit, I might be in the 80s. And a lot of that was for other people, not for myself. I do love these Jelly Roll white gel pens. I use them a lot in my old planner, and I still use them as much as I possibly can. Obviously with white pages, I don't get to use them that often, but I really do love the pens for sketching, and I still use those toned sketchbooks as actually sketchbooks, and I do use them when I'm traveling. At some point I will show you my modified planner that my modified travel journal. I noticed that there's quite a few people who are very interested in travel journals and travel planners, and I do still keep those. They're not as pretty as they used to be, but I've gotten them down to kind of a science as far as how I set them up and how I use them. So I will be doing one of those in the new year when I go to Mexico in a few months. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and tackle this quote, and this is going to be my yearly quote that I hope represents this year for me. Again, this is an example of me using a brush pen. You'll see, like, it's very difficult for me to use it left-handed. A lot of times I have to draw things or write things, not necessarily how you're supposed to write them, but how they work for me. And adding in extra layers as well. I absolutely love these brush pens though, and locally I was able to find them at an art store in Portland, Maine, but I do believe they are available on Amazon. And I will link all of my materials in the description box below. Just keep in mind they are affiliate links, but that helps me to keep making more videos and to keep this channel alive. If you purchase anything through Amazon at no additional cost to you, you will be helping me to keep this channel afloat and to keep doing what I enjoy doing. So you'll see here now I'm adjusting the header. I'm going to use the same black washi tape and the white gel pen to go ahead and put a new title on this page. Basically that works is how I handle most of those situations. If there's a page or something that I don't necessarily like, I'll just cover it in black washi tape and then do the text in white. And that way I can plan and modify the pages really easy. And if I make a mistake on the washi tape too, I can just peel it right off, and it's not like regular tape. It won't rip the page, which I really like because I tend to make a lot of mistakes. Now I'm adding in a monthly quote, and just like with the yearly quote, this is a quote that I want to fuel me through the entire month. It's supposed to represent what I'm working on and doing and aiming for. Alright, so this is just one more flip through. Overall, a very clean, easy setup. The great thing about the Denik Planner is that you can get as decorative and creative with this as you want. You'll know if you've seen my other plan with me's, I love to draw, I love to add color, I love to add quotes. I just don't have time like I used to, and a lot of my art energy is put towards making profitable art, not necessarily art for myself. So this planner works really nicely for that, and if I want to decorate the pages, and maybe I will this year, take the time to decorate some pages and show you guys. But overall, if you feel like you're not a creative person, this is a great place to start if you're looking for a planner/bullet journal. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end of the video. I hope you appreciated it. If you did, do give it a like and subscribe. I do make new travel and art content every single week, or at least I try to. And in the new year, my goal is to post again every single week. I hope to get back on track, and I hope to see you soon. As always, I do appreciate any comments, feedback, suggestions, all in the comment box below. So please do let me know your thoughts. And if you'd like to see any specific content, let me know. I do plan to start doing bullet journal headers and icons again in the new year. Until next time, remember to live, love, and travel on. Bye!